I'm Doug Cole. I'm executive producer and writer on Making Sense. So I had this idea for this script maybe 10 years ago after a friend of mine had a freak accident. Basically, he was paralyzed from a cyst that burst in his base of his lower neck. And another one of my best friends had a son with Down syndrome, and my own nephew had spina bifida. And so I was surrounded for the first time really in my life with all these incidents of remarkable people with disabilities. And so I didn't want to just stick with one form of disability. I didn't want to stick with somebody who's in a wheelchair, or somebody who's blind, or somebody who's hard of hearing or deaf. I wanted to open it up to the more obscure, the stuff that people don't think about, where they may not get, you may not be able to see it as somebody who's walking on the street, but you certainly, once you get to know somebody, understand that that's what drives them, that's what makes them unique. That's the gift that they have, is to demonstrate how extraordinary they are. So I set aside an opportunity to do open casting, if you will, here in Boise, inviting people from all walks of lives, all forms of disability, able-bodied people, people with color, people with different religious and sexual orientations. It was really important that we just had the broadest possible spectrum. People with disabilities are faced with daily struggles. They are wanting to be accepted for truly who they are, and for what's happened to them is nothing more than a challenge and a speed bump.
I think it's amazing that Jump and HP and Doug Cole put this together and got it funded to make it available to people who probably otherwise would never take this kind of a class. And the thing that was so cool about this is, in the course of planning this workshop, there were discussions of, well, what will need to be special about your workshop, because you're dealing with people with disabilities. Nothing has to change. Yes, we need an ASL interpreter, we need a ramp for wheelchairs. But other than that, I don't need to change the scenes. I don't need to change any of that. But what was so cool today is we had children, we had older people, we had some with disabilities, we had some who had no disabilities, and yet everybody seemed to come across with the same kind of fulfillment from the class.
I think as an actress, I'm most impacted by how brave people were that haven't done this before. There was such a range of people here today, and obviously there was a lot of people with disabilities, some with disabilities from birth, and some that happen later in life because of bad accidents. I see so many perfectly healthy, able-bodied people so concerned with what they look like or how they come across. We're so hung up on that as human beings, and to just see somebody with some kind of physical limitation just do the best they can and be who they are and be fully present and show up and not be hung up on what people might think of them or not doing it perfectly. It was so refreshing, and it reinforces that what makes something good or perfect is you bringing your whole human being self, whatever that is or looks like, without any judgment of it, just being there and being seen.
It makes me feel tremendously gratifying when I have people here that say this was the highlight of their year. This was something that, because we're taking them seriously. We are not just carving out a couple of slots for token people with disabilities. We're actually treating them like everybody else.